June 16th, 1944, Saipan, just after dawn. The air smells like wet coral and cordite. The tide is pulling back, dragging broken gear with it, and the beach is already pocked with shell craters that still hiss from the night's rain. A line of U.S. Marines crouches low behind a lip of sand, helmets scraped white, faces gray with dust and salt. Ahead, nothing moves. Then the island opens its eyes. A machine gun coughs from the slope, sharp and flat, and the sand in front of the Marines erupts as if struck by a hammer. Another gun joins it, then another. The fire is precise, methodical, not wild. Whoever is shooting has been waiting. You can almost feel the ground tighten beneath you. Lieutenant Colonel William Collins, 4th Marine Division, presses his chin into the dirt and squints uphill. He knows that hill. At least, he thought he did. Naval guns have pounded it for 2 days. Carrier planes raked it until the earth turned black. The map said the defenses were gone. The map was wrong. The bullets aren't coming from a single bunker. They're coming from everywhere. Cracks in the rock, holes no wider than a helmet, places that didn't exist a second ago. A Japanese tunnel network, deep and interlocked, breathes fire and then disappears. Riflemen fire back. BARs chatter. A 60mm mortar thumps behind the line. Nothing changes. A Marine crawls forward with a satchel charge, muscles trembling, inches at a time. He gets within 10 yards of the slope before a burst cuts him down. The charge slides from his hand and rolls uselessly into a shell hole. Someone shouts for tanks. A Sherman lurches forward, armor scarred, engine screaming. Its main gun fires point blank into a concrete slit. Smoke pours out. The Marines wait. 5 seconds. 10. The gun opens up again, untouched. Behind the line, a small group of men sits apart, uncomfortably aware of the looks they're getting. They wear the same uniforms as everyone else, but what they carry makes them different, awkward, unwelcome. A flamethrower team. The weapon rests on the sand like a squat metal animal, twin fuel tanks, hoses, a wand ending in a thick nozzle. It weighs more than 70 pounds when full. The men who carry it know the jokes. Walking bomb, gas can with legs. Everyone knows what happens if it's hit. Some Marines won't even stand near it. Private First Class George W. Red Tully shifts his shoulders under the straps and feels the weight bite down. He's 19. His hands smell of fuel no matter how much he scrubs them. He can hear the guns on the hill and the men swearing into the sand as bullets snap overhead. Nobody asked for him. Nobody ever does. Collins crawls back down the line, shouting orders that vanish into the noise. He reaches the flamethrower team and stops. For a moment, he just looks at the weapon, then at the hill, then back at the weapon. There's a hesitation there, a human one. Early reports from Guadalcanal still echo in every commander's mind. Tanks blown apart, men ignited, entire crews lost in a second. Flamethrowers were supposed to be a last resort, psychological weapons, too dangerous, too slow. But the bunkers keep firing. Another Marine screams. A corpsman crawls forward, dragging him back by the straps. Collins makes a decision he didn't expect to make when the day began. "Bring it up," he says. "We're done pretending those holes will die on their own." Tully swallows. He rises to a crouch, then a run, the tank swaying behind him as the hillside seems to lean forward, eager. Up ahead, somewhere inside the rock, Japanese soldiers listen to the American fire fade and prepare to shoot again. They don't know what's coming. Not yet.
Tully runs low, knees and elbows grinding into coral. Every step feels louder than it should. The flamethrower sloshes behind him, fuel shifting like a living thing, and he's acutely aware of the space it occupies, of how exposed it makes him. Bullets crack overhead, some close enough that he feels the air move. A rifleman to his left glances back once, eyes wide, then looks away. You can feel the unspoken thought ripple through the line. If that thing gets hit, he's gone. The bunker is closer now, 20 yards, maybe less. From the outside, it barely looks like a position at all, just a dark crease in the volcanic rock, half hidden by brush that somehow survived the bombardment. Smoke drifts from it in lazy puffs, as if the island itself is breathing. Inside, the Japanese gunners wait. They are veterans. Many fought on Tinian, on Guam, some even in China. They know the rhythm of American attacks, rifle fire, grenades, tanks, then a pause. They have learned patience underground. They let the Americans come close before firing, before the kill feels certain. Tully reaches a shallow depression and drops into it, chest heaving. He signals to his assistant, Private Frank Delgado, who crawls up beside him, carrying a carbine and a spare ignition unit. Delgado's mouth moves, but the words are lost in the noise. Tully checks the valves with hands that suddenly feel too big. Fuel pressure, nitrogen, igniter. He's done this in training 100 times, on Oahu, on Maui, on beaches that didn't shoot back. He peeks over the lip of the depression. The bunker fires again. A Marine behind him jerks backward and disappears from view. Someone is yelling. Someone else is praying. The firing slit glows faintly orange from muzzle flash, a steady, confident rhythm. This is why they're here. Tully rises. He doesn't sprint. He can't. The weight forbids it. He moves forward in a determined, almost stubborn walk, each step deliberate. 10 yards, 8, 6. A bullet punches into the dirt at his feet. Another sparks off rock, inches from his head. Then he's there. He squeezes the trigger. The flamethrower answers with a deep, animal roar. A ribbon of fire leaps from the nozzle, thick and liquid, arcing straight into the bunker slit. It doesn't explode. It pours. It flows like something alive, wrapping itself into the darkness. The sound changes. The machine gun stops mid-burst, cut off as if a switch has been thrown. From inside the bunker comes a noise no one forgets, a muffled, panicked shouting, then nothing at all. For a heartbeat, the hillside is silent. The Marines stare. Smoke begins to seep from cracks in the rock, darker now, heavier. The smell hits a second later. Burning fuel, scorched earth, something else beneath it that no one wants to name. Tully releases the trigger, hands shaking. He stumbles back, nearly falling, as Delgado hauls him down. No return fire comes. Across the line, heads lift, rifles lower just a fraction. Men look at the bunker, then at the flamethrower team, and then back at the bunker again, as if expecting it to wake up. It doesn't. Collins raises his binoculars, scanning the slope. One bunker is gone, just one, but the hill suddenly looks different now, smaller, less certain. A sergeant nearby mutters almost to himself, "Jesus Christ, it worked." Further up the slope, unseen firing slits remain dark. Japanese soldiers inside the tunnels listen to the silence spreading along the line and exchange glances in the cramped underground passages. For the first time since the invasion began, they feel something new. Fear. And on the American side, a weapon everyone once avoided has just rewritten the rules of the fight.
The silence doesn't last. From farther up the ridge, another bunker opens fire, then another, trying to reclaim the rhythm of the fight. But something has changed. The Marines don't flinch the same way now. They've seen a bunker die. Not suppressed, not bypassed, killed. Collins wastes no time. He points uphill, voice cutting through the noise. Flame teams forward, tanks cover. Everybody else, stay tight. Orders ripple down the line, and with them a shift in posture. Riflemen rise a little higher behind their cover. Engineers crawl forward with wire cutters and satchel charges, and the flamethrower teams, once parked awkwardly in the rear, are suddenly at the center of everything. Tully and Delgado move again, this time with two more flame teams fanning out on either side. They advance in short, violent bursts. A bunker fires. A tank answers with a high explosive round. The gun pauses. Then the flamethrower steps in and finishes it. You can almost see the pattern forming. Japanese defenses on Saipan are built to endure bombardment. Concrete roofs are thick, ventilation shafts snake deep underground. Tunnels connect positions so that a bunker thought destroyed can come alive again from a different angle. Grenades bounce off, rifle fire is meaningless. Even tanks can't depress their guns enough to reach some of the openings. Fire doesn't care about any of that. It crawls through ventilation pipes, it floods downward passages, it sucks oxygen from rooms men thought were safe. Even when it doesn't kill instantly, it leaves behind something worse: heat, smoke, terror that lingers long after the flames are gone. Japanese soldiers retreat deeper into the tunnels, slamming steel doors, coughing, eyes burning. They've trained to die for the emperor. They've prepared for artillery, for bullets, for bayonets. They were not prepared for this. By midday, entire sections of the ridge have gone quiet, not destroyed, emptied. Marines move cautiously past bunker mouths that hours ago were death traps. Inside, the air is thick and hot. Weapons lie abandoned. Some tunnels are still warm to the touch. Word spreads fast. Flame clears them out. Only thing that works. On Saipan, flamethrowers stop being a curiosity and start becoming doctrine. 8 months later, on another island, the lesson is waiting to be learned again, this time in a place where the earth itself seems designed to resist invasion. February 19th, 1945, Iwo Jima. The sand is black, volcanic, and it swallows boots whole. Mount Suribachi looms to the south, quiet and intact despite days of bombardment. Marines of the 5th Division push inland, and within minutes the ground explodes with fire from positions no one can see. The Japanese defenses here are deeper than anything encountered before. Miles of tunnels, reinforced with steel and timber, designed specifically to survive American firepower. Bunkers overlap, fields of fire crisscross, kill zones are layered. Once again, the flamethrower teams are brought forward. Only now, no one laughs. On Iwo Jima, Marines walk beside the flame operators, not away from them. Riflemen provide cover. Tanks modified with Navy flamethrowers, massive, terrifying machines, roll forward, belching fire into cave mouths and trenches. One Marine later writes in his journal, "We stopped thinking of them as men with tanks. They were the key. You didn't go anywhere without them." Still, every advance costs blood. Flamethrower operators are priority targets. Japanese snipers aim for the tanks. Mortars search for them. A single hit can turn a man into a torch. The casualty rate is brutal. And yet they keep moving forward. Because when the firing doesn't stop, when the bunkers refuse to die, there is nothing else that can reach them. By the end of the first week on Iwo Jima, the nickname has stuck. Marines don't say it loudly. They don't joke about it. They say it with a kind of exhausted respect, the key that unlocks the island. But the cost of turning that key is about to become impossible to ignore.
By the second week on Iwo Jima, the island feels smaller and deadlier. Every yard forward is measured in bodies and burn marks. The tunnels are no longer surprises, they are expectations. Marines move with their eyes fixed on the ground, scanning for seams in the rock, unnatural shadows, anything that might be an opening. And always, somewhere nearby, there is a flamethrower team. Private First Class Tully isn't on Iwo Jima, but men just like him are. Boys from Kansas and Brooklyn and Fresno, carrying 70 pounds of fuel across ground that offers no cover and no mercy. They don't swagger. They don't talk much. They check their valves constantly. They know the math. A rifleman hit might live. A flamethrower operator hit probably won't. Japanese defenders know this too. Orders from General Kuribayashi emphasize patience. Let the Americans come close. Let the flame teams expose themselves. Kill them first. Snipers wait until the tanks are committed, until the flames are already in the air. Mortar crews listen for the distinctive roar of ignition before firing. A single shell landing true can ignite everything. When it happens fast. A Marine from the 28th Regiment is hit halfway up a slope near Suribachi. Witnesses say there's a flash, then screaming, then nothing. The assistant tries to pull him clear, but is driven back by fire. The tanks move in, flooding the area with flame until there's nothing left to shoot. No one says his name out loud. They don't have time. And yet, despite the losses, the advance continues, because every time the flamethrower is used, something fundamental breaks on the Japanese side of the line. A position that might have held for days collapses in minutes. A tunnel system that could bleed a battalion dry is rendered useless in seconds. Fire changes the psychology of the battlefield. Japanese soldiers begin abandoning bunkers earlier, retreating deeper, sometimes too deep. Oxygen disappears, communication breaks down, units become isolated, sealed inside their own defenses. Marines notice the shift. Cave mouths are found open, weapons lie where they were dropped. In some places, the defenders choose to die outside rather than wait inside for the flame. By late February, flamethrowers are no longer special weapons, they are standard tools, requested by platoon leaders the way they once called for grenades. Flame up front, bring the tanks. This is how the island is taken, not in sweeping charges, but in methodical, brutal erasure. One hole at a time, one tunnel at a time. But victory doesn't feel like triumph, it feels heavy. When the fighting finally winds down, Marines walk past blackened entrances and melted steel, knowing exactly what it took to silence them. Many won't talk about it for years, some never will. They'll remember the sound most of all, not the explosion, but the roar, the moment when fire became the only language the island understood. And long after Iwo Jima is declared secure, the lesson lingers in Marine Corps doctrine and memory. Because somewhere, in some future fight, there will be another bunker that won't stop firing, and someone will remember the weapon everyone once mocked. March 26, 1945, Iwo Jima, late afternoon. The guns finally stop. Not all at once, not cleanly, just fewer shots. Longer gaps. An island that had screamed for over a month begins to exhale. Smoke hangs low over the broken ridges, drifting across ground so churned and burned it barely resembles land anymore. Marines move forward cautiously, rifles raised, stepping past bunker mouths that are dark and still. Some tap the rock with their boots, waiting for movement that doesn't come. Others don't look inside at all. They already know. Near a collapsed cave, a flamethrower lies on its side, tanks empty, paint blistered and flaking. No one claims it. No one jokes about it. It's treated almost like a grave marker. By the end of the battle, casualty reports tell a brutal story. Flamethrower operators suffer some of the highest loss rates of any role on the island. Entire teams are wiped out in minutes. Replacements step in without ceremony, tighten the straps, and move forward, because the alternative is worse. In after-action reports, officers stop hedging their language. They write plainly now. Flamethrowers proved decisive against fortified positions. Tunnel networks could not be neutralized by conventional means. Flame weapons were essential to the advance. One Marine, years later, puts it more simply. If you didn't have flame, you didn't move. Back home, flamethrowers will never get a parade. They don't fit the mythology. Too ugly, too close, too final. The men who carried them returned quietly, many saying little about what they did or why it had to be done. But among infantrymen who fought on Saipan, on Iwo Jima, on Okinawa, the memory is clear. They remember how the bunkers laughed at shells, how tunnels swallowed entire platoons, how every safe approach turned lethal. And they remember the moment that changed everything. The moment fire poured into the darkness and the firing stopped. What began as a mocked, feared contraption became something else entirely. Not a weapon of bravado, not a symbol, a necessity. The key that unlocked islands no one thought could be taken.